Ah, that's hot. That's hot.
Welcome! Today we're taking a closer look at the new Gollum game, 4 weeks after release when nobody cares about it anymore, because that's just how we roll around these parts. And because this game doesn't respect your time, neither will I. I will have a smoke while recording this, and there ain't nothing you can do about it. So buckle up, buckaroo, for it's June 2023, and it's high time for another slap in the face, courtesy of the gaming industry. Bet you thought we were done after round 4, loser. Nuh-uh. Now empty your wallet. Thanks. Here is your reward. The Lord of the Rings Gollum. Except it's got little to do with rings or with Gollum. You don't play as Gollum. You play as the jumpy crackhead I walk past on my way to work every day. Except here, he's not threatening me with mafia for not giving him change. Although, having played through the entirety of this soulless abortion they call a video game, I'm not so sure whether that's a good thing. I think I'd prefer the mafia, if I'm being honest with you. Developed, or rather poorly stitched together and released into the wild by DAIDS Entertainment, The Lord of the Rings Gollum is... an official adaptation based on the literary works of J.R.R. Tolkien. He's got nothing more to lose. Yeah, except for his dignity. How far will he go to retrieve his precious? Doesn't matter though, does it? He never sees it again, and neither do we. Gollum is an action-adventure game, and an epic, interactive experience. You play as the enigmatic Gollum on his perilous journey, and find out how he outwitted the most powerful characters in Middle-earth. The Lord of the Rings Gollum. Nobody was under the illusion that this game will be fantastic upon seeing the reveal trailer. It looked slightly off from the get-go, but hope lingered. Hope for a decent story or platforming at least. Little Smeagol traversing through Middle-earth in search of his precious. We haven't been shown his perspective yet. What a wonderful idea to have this cunning creature be the center of attention. For Smeagol is many things, but he definitely doesn't come to mind when you try to picture a hero or badass. To see the world from the point of view of a sad bottom feeder destined to forever chase the unattainable. A withered husk of his once cheery self. An empty shell capable of horrific deeds, and yet he was never really seen as a villain. He's almost yet another victim. After all, how could such a feeble being resist the Dark Lord himself? Get back in the closet, Tom, or so help me God. How could Smeagol resist well, kind of a fallen angel, right? Or am I misremembering things again? You thought Lady Nostalgia was a novel idea. Say hello to further dementia. Story spoilers up ahead. Go here to avoid them. Though there's honestly no point. You're not gonna play this thing, so you might as well just watch the entire thing. That's why they pay me the big bucks after all. It revolves around Gollum. Shocking, I know. In the ceaseless search for his precious. Except we don't really get too much of that, do we, Daedalic? Nope. Not at all. Gollum speaks of the ring frequently, but we don't get much more than that. I get that they're following the books, but I would have liked for him to maybe at least come close to reclaiming his treasure. Or here is a wild idea. Have us control his past self while he was still in its possession. Gollum is being interrogated by Dumbledore, and we begin our journey by reliving his memories. Memories tracing back to his humble beginnings as a Borok, and I hope that's what they're called, but I do not care enough to fact-check with Uncle G, Herder, as a collector of tags and explosives expert down in the Candleman's tower. The name Candleman reminds me of either the Candyman or the Waxy Fellas from the Duke's archives. The Candle G, who is the game's antagonist, takes an interest in Gollum and begins teaching and training him in various areas like speechcraft or training birds. Gollum of course doesn't care much for anything, and all he can think of is his precious and how to get it back, so he hatches a plan, no pun intended, using Grashnik, into whom we shall rip shortly, to escape the tower. But guess what? You escape the brown prison only to end up in a green one. Is this what they call a bait and switch? Thus your partnership with Mel the blind elf starts. Instead of working with the frail man or Grashnik, you now work with her on escaping Thranduil's kingdom. And after a couple of hours attempting just that, you manage to get away only to end up back in the same place because the haze. See, were it a good game, I'd go over the haze, but seeing as that's definitely not the case, let's just say that the haze tricks any who attempt to leave or enter the kingdom. You reunite with Mel after a failed strangulation attempt, something else we shall get to in a minute, and you once again go about leaving the kingdom by destroying the orb holding the haze in place. Though I must say, take all I say at this point with a bucket full of salt, cause my interest dwindled with each passing hour, and I just really wanted to be done with the game at that point. The Candleman gets Sauron to possess the orb, Sauron possesses the orb, Gollum shatters the orb, Gollum escapes, game over. Thank fuck. Except you first duke it out with the Candle G himself. Boy oh boy, what a thrilling ride that was. Shall we see the fight in all its glory? Really, Daedalic? Did the Candleman not think to throw his back up against the rocks? Shit, just lean over backwards and keep going until you fall down. Gollum's done for if you do that. It would have made a lot more sense for Gollum to just kind of sneak up on him with a rock in his hand, like he did in the movies, and bludgeon him to death. But no, we had to have a Fawkes/Hedwig moment in here. Before departing Spoiler Town, I'd like to touch on the choices you make throughout the game. They're essentially glorified arguments between Smeagol and Gollum. Who will have the upper hand? Who gets to decide what to do? It's up to you. Is it though? I'd like to quickly go over two examples where I chose to do what Gollum would, and both times nothing happened. The first one's at the very beginning of the game. Kill the beetle or let it live. I chose to kill it, but I was rudely interrupted by a Nazgul. I didn't pay it any mind though, and just continued playing the game. But then in the second half, we have a choice between strangling Mel or letting her live. I chose to strangle her, and guess what? Gollum got distracted by some flowers and let go. Why give the players the choice if nothing is going to come out of it anyway? I'll tell you why. The illusion of having meaningful choices to make is almost as good as actually implementing them. See, had I chosen to let her live, nothing would have happened all the same, but I would have been thinking that I could have killed her. You know, done something different, drastic, something unforgivable. Imagine what a kick in the nuts it would have been to replay the game as the other side, only to find out it was all for nothing. Then again, playing Gollum already felt like being kicked in the nuts over and over again, so I guess nothing would be different. Maybe replaying it for the illusion of choices would have been like getting kicked in the nuts whilst being spat on. Spoilers over, and with that, I'd like to thank Leando and Vviki for sponsoring these videos. Don't know what possessed you to give me your money, but know that I appreciate each and every pound you throw at me. Before we move on to the next section, I just want to point out how some characters are called in the game. We have the Cruel Woman, Cruel Elf, and Cruel She-Elf. The thing is, we never get to see their cruelty, so what gives? I understand that that's just how Gollum refers to them, but I'm not sure whether this comes as a surprise to the writers of the game, but we, the players, are not Gollum. If we don't see their cruelty on full or even partial display, then those are just arbitrary names. Might as well name this one the Donkey-Dicked He-Elf. We just have to take their word for it. We don't know any better, do we? Although it would raise questions such as how does Gollum know that?
Jesse! 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 Jesse!
Gameplay.
Thanks, Head Start, for releasing my hitherto unsuspected intellectual prowess.
A pleasant stroll in the park, it is not. You won't be hearing birds sing today, friendo. They all died after witnessing the awfulness that is the Lord of the Rings, Gollum.
Oh my god! Wow!
You know the game Agony? This should have been called that unironically, because that's what you'll be in if you choose to give Daedalic your money and play this giant piss steak of a game. Shit, don't even sail the seas to get your hands on this. It's really not worth it. Gameplay can be broken down into the following parts: stealth, platforming, whatever the hell this is called, companion, and believe it or not, cutscenes. For they are many. Too many and too frequent.
this piece of shit?
Just let me play the game, goddammit. You don't have to shovel more shit down my throat every 5 minutes. I get it. You have a story you wanna tell me. Fine. Tell it to me in another way, cause I'd rather watch The Rings of Power at this point. There is a tempest in me. Fuck. Stealth is about as rudimentary as it can be, which is a rather strange design choice for a game whose one of the main focuses is supposed to be stealth. It's like opening up an escape room, but the only puzzle there is to solve is 2 + 2. AI breaks half the time while you're sneaking around too, so you can just ignore the enemies. It's honestly quite wonderful. You can strangle orcs while crawling around, with the exception of the ones with their helmets on. You can't kill those, except when it's in a cutscene, apparently. Did they really just forget they told you Gollum cannot kill orcs with their helmets on? I guess so.
Great.
You also have the ability to throw rocks at objects or at enemies themselves to distract them, and that too is about as complex as you'd expect. Every time Gollum gets caught, they play a cutscene for you. Shall we take a look at some of them?
Just reported.
Wants to find baggage. Oh, stop them.
They are literally unfinished. They feel like placeholders for when they have the time to fine-tune the rest of the game. I expect stuff like this from an early access title, not a full release that costs almost as much as Elden Ring did a year ago. That's insane when you think about it. Elden Ring was £50, this is 43. The difference in price? Negligible. In quality? Humongous. Platforming is next on the list, and it can be somewhat enjoyable at rare occasions, but the AA jank rears its ugly head more often than not, frustrating you to no end. There are invisible blocks on stuff that should otherwise be climbable, forcing you to shift Gollum's position. Gollum will sometimes fail to grab onto ledges or poles for no apparent reason. His stamina bar is a fucking joke. Look at how quickly it disappears versus how long it takes to refill.
Why?
We also mustn't forget about the checkpoints, of course. Some are okay, others are not. Why place a checkpoint just before a cutscene? Why force the player to have to skip something over and over again? Any game devs around who can answer this for me? Because this isn't the only game guilty of this particular blasphemous behavior. Now we're on to the whatever the hell this is called section of gameplay. Let's call it Hugo. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with the TV/telephone game in the early 2000s called Hugo. It's like Temple Run, but older. Gollum has 2 of these Hugo sections, and the frustrating thing is that the game just kind of relies on you getting past one obstacle, only to fail at the next one. Rinse and repeat until you memorize where things are to get to the finish line. One of these is when you're escaping the tower in a cart, and while still bullshitty, it wasn't quite as bad as the Shelob bit. My god, I had to go to therapy for a few weeks after going through this condensed horribleness. This is where I put my sponsored segment with BetterHelp. Had they gotten back to me?
This is where I put a
Sponsored segment.
If I had one!
A compilation of all my deaths at the hands of Shelob at the end of the video if you wish to see my suffering. Companion part, oh companion part. My god. This is the introductory bit to the companion side of gameplay. I want you to see it in all its splendor.
The fat one looks like a good feast.
Go!
I don't like this.
Desert man!
On my way.
Go over there!
That way. Oh well.
Over there, see?
That way.
Over there, see?
I don't like this.
Good. Now he only has to catch all the others.
And because this game doesn't respect your time, neither will I.
Who in their right mind will look at this and go, "Yup, job's done. This is good stuff. See you at the bar in 20. Daedalic entertainment. You know that games are supposed to be fun, right? Because judging by how you chose to release this mangled, fetid corpse of a game, I don't think anybody's told you that. I wouldn't be surprised if the CEO of the company told me to my face that they made this game as a joke. You know, like a prank. Get people excited for a product that's ultimately being made to be shit. Got a nice ring to it too. Gollum, made to be shit. Hold up there, young man. Have you subscribed to the channel yet? It's quick, easy, and free. Get notified of future uploads by ringing the bell of awakening too. Come along this journey with me. What do you say, Chief? Cutscenes, cutscenes, cutscenes. We don't likes it, precious. Oh no, we fucking hates it, don't we, my love? For a 10-hour-long game with absolutely zero replay value, Gollum has an abundance of cutscenes. Now, I'm not gonna bother checking how much of the game's runtime is bloated by them, but I bet you anything it's not a small number. And if I were a betting man, I'd say there's probably between 30 and 60 minutes worth of cutscenes in it. That's a lot considering how short it is. Wayne Forrester's done a fine job voicing Gollum, I think.
Don't listen, my love. No, not us. Baggins has it. He stole it. Our present, our precious. It was ours, and he took it, and he lied.
It's definitely different and not quite on the same level as Andy Serkis.
Yes, precious. False. They will cheat you, hurt you, lie. Master's my friend.
But not everything must be a direct comparison or competition. He did his thing with the character and I honestly liked it. For the most part, voice acting is good. Gollum and Gandalf definitely take the cake. Gandalf actually sounds similar to Ian McKellen, which was a nice touch.
He found your precious ring and so you strangled him. You strangled him and left his body there in the slough.
The one issue I had with voice acting was Sauron, disappointingly enough. He sounds okay sometimes. Other times he just sounds like an extra evil orc, especially in this bit.
Drink. Get up and drink.
The game does have a pretty good soundtrack, thank God, because I don't think I could recover from spending 10 hours with an awful game that's accompanied by music that sounds like nails on a chalkboard. And because this game doesn't respect your time, neither will I. For the most part, it manages to capture the helpless nature of Gollum. Honestly, Broom Stellar Music Collective's done a fine job. Good job, you guys. Sorry the game itself sucks horsecocks. Performance was below par, but nothing horrific, I guess. It stuttered frequently in open areas, cutscenes are limited to 30 frames per second, so the transition between them and gameplay was jarring more often than not. The thing is, if the game looks this outdated, and the only well-animated thing is Gollum himself, and even then that's debatable, then I'd expect it to be smoother than a freshly waxed scrotum. And that, it definitely was not.
Wow. Love you guys.
Guess this is as good a time as any to blast through the graphics. I'd honestly expect a little more, even from as bad a game as this. It's a linear game. You know what that means, Daedalic, right? You don't have to worry about a whole wide world to detail. Gollum is extremely linear with incredibly limited environmental variability. So the fact that it costs what it costs and looks this outdated is not okay. Think 2011's Dragon Age 2 and you'll understand just what I mean. Animations are bad too, apart from Gollum's body, which has been done fairly well. His facial animations are subpar though. Overall, I enjoyed about an hour out of the entire 10-hour-long tribulation. Oh, Father, I repent for all the sins I have committed that have led me down this path. Forgive me and grant me the strength to stay away from these repulsive titles. Repetitive, tedious, and frustrating are the three adjectives I'd use to describe Gollum. How did he even come to this? Did nobody see the writing on the wall? Has nobody thought to themselves, Fuck, there's no way we can save this thing. Pull the plug, we can't sell this. I'm guessing DAIDS are not familiar with the phrase sunk cost fallacy. Yeah, it would have sucked to abandon the project halfway through, but there's no way on earth this made them any money given the player count. To have the balls to charge this amount for a product this bad is simply mind-blowing. £43 for this steaming ball of gaseous shit? The Lord of the Rings Gollum is honestly one of the worst games I have ever played, and I'm not even exaggerating. It's right up there in the hall of shit, sitting quietly next to the Demonican, hoping people soon forget. Oh dear Smeagol, I don't think anybody's ever forgetting this. Fuck you, Gollum, fuck the gaming industry, and Daedalic, hear me when I say,
there's a tempest in me!
Ooh, you're odd.
Shame on you for charging a ridiculous amount of money for a product you know is bad and not even worth half that. I was really looking forward to playing Gollum. I always knew it wasn't going to be an amazing product, but I definitely did not expect this mess, this slap in the face, and the piss running down my cheeks as I weep for what could have been. The Lord of the Rings Gollum is a terrible game unworthy of anybody's time or money, even if heavily discounted. Might as well donate your money to a charity, or better yet, give it to me via Patreon. Stay away from Gollum, and don't go anywhere near it. Don't even look in its direction, lest you catch something like I fear I did. Doctor's appointment next week, but I gotta tell you, it's not looking great. They think it might be a digitally transmitted AIDS. DAIDS. Marcel, Headshot Slinger, Lyubomir Mitkov, Spigazu, and James Mikhailovich. My beautiful patrons, thank you for deeming me worthy of your hard-earned money. I appreciate each and every one of you. Wanna have your name read out loud by a random dude online? Head on over to my Patreon and give me your money. We'll talk business then.
Don't hold back. Don't hold back. Send the fucking money, bitch.
Become one with the degeneracy by joining our Discord server. You can also just view all the other links by visiting the video's description. Thank you for watching the review. That's it for today. I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers!
Ah!